Hello everyone, this is Zulkarnain Rajin and today I'll be presenting the variance report analysis for BDO UK for November 2026. I'll explain the key variances today, why they happened and what actions we can take to improve future performances. So in the next slide, we're going to see the agenda. So here's the agenda, here's the structure of today's presentation. So I'll start with a very short introduction to variance reports, then discuss the alternative budgeting recommendations and all that. So after that, I'll go through the prioritized variances and explain how they were selected actually. So finally, I'll end with the strategic recommendations and all the conclusions as well. So in the next slide, we are going to see our prioritized methodology. So this slide actually explains how to prioritize the variances. We looked at the variances that had the biggest financial impact and those that affect important business areas. So we always considered whether the variances could be controlled or could be prevented. So these helped us decide which variances needed urgent attention. So in the next slide, we are going to see what is prioritized variance report is. So these slides actually shows the key variances we prioritized based on the size and the business impact. For example, human resources shows a major adverse here, the variance of 2.9 million, which is 6% over the budget. So corporate service and admin also shows a very large adverse variance of around 957,322 British pounds, which is 26% over budget. So making it one of the biggest problem areas here. So learning and development has a smaller but still a very significant adverse variance of 98,244 pounds, which is quite equal to 9% of over budget. On the positive side, utilities have a favorable variance of 32,054, which is 14% much better than the budget. And facilities and cleaning services are 59,915 favorable, which is around 8% than expected. So these large numbers actually helps us to decide which areas actually needed to have the attention. So in the next slides, we're going to see the operational variances, which is actually updated management strategies. So in these slides explains the operational causes behind the variances. Human resources exceeded the budget by 2.9 million pounds, which mostly because of 15 contractors were hired for short notice coverage, which actually increased the cost significantly. The updated approach is to create framework agreements with the staffing agencies to avoid last-minute contractor rates. So corporate service and admin show an adverse variance of 957,322 caused mainly by penalties for late filings. The recommendation is to add a mandatory compliance review, which is 5 days before every deadline to stop this happening again. So learning and development has a 98,244 adverse variance due to emergency training sessions for regulatory changes. So the improved strategy is to maintain a rolling 12-month regulatory alert system. So training can be planned in advance rather than do it urgently. So in the next slide, we're going to see the planning variances, which is updated budget. So the planning variances occur when the original budget was unrealistic or based on incorrect assumptions. So this means the issues is not operational but related to the planning. To fix this, the company needs to update its budget using more accurate forecasts and market informations. So in the next slides, we are going to see our strategic recommendations. So in the strategic recommendations, we're going to see these are the long-term suggestions to support the business. Strategic recommendations may always include improving forecasting systems, better communication, better departments, or adopting flexible budgeting methods. So these actions actually can help prevent repeated variances in the future. So The five strategic recommendations form a powerful long term plan designed to instill financial rigor and operational resilience across the entire business. First, to move to zero based budgeting (ZBB) from FY 2027 fundamentally changes the culture by demanding annual justification for every expenses, ensuring resources are continuously aligned with the current strategic priorities rather than historical inertia, thereby preventing the habitual budget bloat that causes recurring cost variances. So, complementing these formalization of a 5% materiality threshold, which acts as a crucial filter, focusing management's time, resources exclusively on investing significant financial divisions while ignoring minors. So, immaterial fluctuations, ensuring that collective actions are impactful and efficient. Furthermore, the proactive establishment of a 3% con- contingency regulatory buffer fund effectively ring fence funds for expected but unpredictable costs like penalties, trainings, and sickness, stabilizing department operating budgets, and eliminating the common source of unanticipated negative variances. On the operational front, requiring annual competitive tenders for service like insurance and energy will dismantle costly auto renewal habits, forcing the business to capture the best market rates year on year to maintain cost control. So, finally, fully automating tax filing and regulatory deadlines, eliminating a 100% preventable class of negative variance, late penalties, while simultaneously freeing up the finance team to focus on the strategic analysis rather than manual compliance collectively. These actions transition the businesses from a reactive state to proactive, disciplined organization, successfully mitigating future financial risks and promoting sustained growth. So, in the last slides, we're going to see the references. So these references actually support the theories and the methods used in analysis, including textbooks by Drury and Hope and Fraser, as well as the BDO UK's internal policy and documents. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I'm very happy to answer any questions you may have in the future. Thank you.